Bridget here with another prescription for success. This week's prescription for success is called my ABCD prescription. It's really about support for you, because the reason for having support is that maybe you want to be even more successful in your life, step up, put yourself out of your comfort zone, or maybe you're feeling really stuck and have no one to talk to or no one that particularly gets you. And it's really important to have support for these changes, and even if you're just doing what you do in your life, it's nice to have support. So I've developed a system called ABCD. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what that is. A's are people that totally support you, that totally get you, that are there for you, and you are there for them. B's are people that might be A's or might not. So they're people that you interact with on a fairly regular basis that sometimes support you, but you're not entirely sure whether they're there for you in all sorts of times. C's are people that you interact with that really you don't have any emotional connections with, so maybe people at work that you see across the other side of the room that don't really affect you emotionally. The postman, I would say the dog, but I don't know how we test that one out. And anyone that you might see on the bus, the train, people you pass in your general daily life. Now D's are the really interesting people, because D's are the people that drain you, and I think we've probably all got people that drain you. So I certainly have, or did have, until I actually did something about it. So maybe I'd put myself out of my comfort zone in my business or my life, and then they'd say, oh, why are you doing that? Or I don't think that's the right thing to do. Or they'd say, oh, can you just help me do this but never give anything back? Or maybe criticise you. So generally, D's are people that emotionally drain you. And I don't think I really need to explain any more about who they are, because you will know who they are. So I'm going to tell you how to sort these people out, because what we really, really need is A's and C's. So turn the B's into A's, or move them to C's, and somehow get emotionally rid of the D's. So we're going to talk about this now. So make a list of your A's. So they're people around you who you've asked for help before, who've given you good advice, who are happy to give you feedback even if it's not quite the feedback that you want and that you feel really supported by. Write down the list in B of people who might be A's. So maybe they're people that you interact with on a fairly regular basis in work, in your business, at home, friends, family, and just test them out. So in some senses you want to give them something that you really need support with, and see whether they step up or not, and tell them, I really need people around me who support me. I've got this little problem here, or a big problem if you like, and find out whether they are prepared to support you or whether they're not, they're too busy perhaps with other things. So test them out. C's you don't really need a list of, because that's a very long list, because they're people all around you who you don't feel emotionally connected to. Then what I want you to do is I want you to consider your D's. So D's can be your family, they can be your spouse, they can be your best friends, they can be anyone around you. So make a list of people that drain you emotionally. And then ask yourself, what is it about those people that drains you emotionally? So it's possible with D's that they could actually be A's, and maybe you haven't fed back to them about how you feel about their behaviour or their actions. Maybe they don't actually know what you want to do with your life. Maybe they don't know what you want to do in your business or your career. So how can they actually support you? So you can actually just decide that you're not going to let them affect you. You can feed back to them on a regular basis, be consistent with them, and say, thanks for that, but I really need support on this. And just keep doing that. Sometimes if they're friends, if they're people you interact with on a regular basis, then they're draining you and you don't actually need them to be around you. So it's more difficult if they're your parents or your friends, but if they're just people that you interact with on a regular basis that drain you, then just decide not to interact with them anymore. If if they ask why, then you can give them some feedback. Maybe that will change, maybe that won't, but at least you're going for your goals in your life, your business or your career, without those people actually draining you of emotional energy. So what this will do is it will eventually lead you to just have A's and C's, so people that totally support you and get what you want, and people around you that you don't feel particularly emotionally connected to or drain you from emotions. And that would be a fab place to be in, because it will mean that you actually get what you want in your life, your business or your career. If you find you haven't got enough A's, then go looking for them. So find a mentor, find a coach, find people that can support you. And sometimes that takes a bit of work, but it's well worth the work in the end. So what if you did do this? Would it mean that you were totally supported by the people around you? Would you feel that you could talk to them about any problem that came up in your life? And what if you didn't? Would you still feel emotionally drained by those D's around you? Would you be uncertain about who your A's were? So if you're struggling with any of this, then get in touch, leave some comments below. There's some, as you'll have noticed as you're going through, there's some tables for A's, B's, C's and D's, and copy them onto a piece of paper and use them. If you struggle at all, give me a shout. My contact details are at the end of this, and you can also find me on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Facebook, and I'd love to have some contact with you and know what you thought about this video and see what success you have in using it. So I'm Dr. Bridget, giving you prescriptions for success. See you next time.